Titans, and welcome to the Season 14 finale of Titan Sports. I'm your host, Tyra Majors, and beside me is Nathan McHugh, and we're here to give you the latest scores, highlights, and everything else Titan athletics.
The Tuskers are up for the men's basketball team as they captured their third straight win over last weekend's homecoming game against Cal Lutheran by the final score of 86-58. The 86 points marked a season high, and the scoring was led by junior guard Kyle Allman Jr., who has scored in double figures in 4 straight games. Allman Jr. finished the night with a total of 22 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. The bench also played a key role in the win as the Titan bench finished the night scoring a total of 40 points. Titan hoops look to stay hot as they go on the road to face Portland this Wednesday at 7 p.m.
Titans women's basketball couldn't contain a hot shooting Idaho in a road trip ending loss. Idaho led from the start, beat Fullerton 80-60 while shooting over 50% from the field and hitting 15 three-pointers. Fullerton struggled from distance in their 4th straight loss. The Titans shot only 20% from beyond the arc and nearly 39% from the field. Deja Smith scored 11 points in the third quarter for a team-high 19. Trian Thompson also reached double digits with 11 points. Ashley Ann scored 10. After the finals break, women's basketball returns to Titan Gym on December 16th against Antelope Valley.
And continuing with the celebration of men's soccer Big West Championship, juniors Samuel Goney and Ross McPhee were named to the United States Coaches All-Far West third team. Goney led the Titans with 19 total points, ranking him 5th overall in the Big West, while his team best 9 goals ranked him 3rd. Goney also received Big West All-Conference team honors. McPhee started all 22 games this season and totaled 17 points on the year. His 7 goals and 3 assists also earned him Big West Midfielder of the Year honors, the first in Titan history. Goney and McPhee will return for their senior seasons as the Titans defend their Big West title. Now we'll send it off to the roundtable with Jessica Lucero. Take it away, Jessica.
Hello, everyone. I'm your roundtable host and Titan Sports assistant producer, Jessica Lucero. Alongside me, we have Titan Sports executive producer, James Lassier. And in honor of the last episode of the semester with us today is a very special guest, the Titan Sports founder, Derek Opina. Welcome back, Derek. How is it?
Thank you.
How are you liking the new makeover to Titan Sports?
Honestly, I'm impressed. I'm blown away because as soon as I walked in the set today, all I could think was everything you guys have here, the product you've been putting online, on YouTube, and on social media has been beyond anything that me and my colleagues at the time could have thought of when we first started this. You know, I walk in, I see the fancy background, the improved equipment, and the overall better product that you guys put together. And I'm watching the episode, and I see the little rundown that you guys have on the side, and all I can think is, man, I'm proud of those guys. You know, just continuing the legacy that me and my colleagues started back in the day.
Now, are you okay with the name change? Get rid of the recap?
You know what, man? When the recap was removed at the time, I saw that, I was like, no, what happened to my baby?
Yeah.
You know? But then I realized, you know, one thing that's very consistent with time is that time changes. Mm-hmm. Things change along with time, and sometimes a product needs to be rebranded. So what Titan Sports Recap was in the past is different from what Titan Sports represents now. So in a way, I thought the name change was very symbolic of the new product that you guys are putting out. So eventually I got used to it, but you know, the spirit is still the same, and that is the number one thing that I'm happy about.
All right.
Now, what was that transition like? I know a lot of us are, you know, reaching that point where we're going to have to enter the real world. So what was that transition like going from this school to, you know, an outside place that you've never been before?
Yeah, you guys are almost there. Mm-hmm. You know what, the transition, okay, that was actually the nice thing about Titan Sports Recap / Titan Sports when I first started it, is that the point was to help students compete for sports jobs and to give them a practice that is not any different from what they do in the real world of TV news and sports reporting. So when we did Titan Sports, what we would do when we started, we'd go to games with a camera, we'd shoot the games, we'd cut highlights, write the scripts, and put it on the newscasts. Got my first news job in Montana, exact same thing. I go out, I cover a game with a camera, I shoot it, cut up the highlights, throw it on for the newscast. My first job in Montana, actually, the first game I ever covered, they didn't give me any training whatsoever. They just said, hey, Derek, there's a soccer game. Can you go cover it? And I was just like, yeah, I've done this before. Like, it's not any different from the soccer games that I covered at Cal State Fullerton. So in that sense, TSR was meant to be a platform to help prepare students for when they jump into the real world. And I felt like TSR definitely did that for when I first got my first sports job in Montana.
Mm-hmm.
Now, alongside having your experience in Montana, you also worked at a local NBC affiliate, and now you work at USC covering children athletics.
Yeah.
How has your overall professional experience been like since you graduated in 2010?
It's a growing experience because, I mean, when you're in college, you're kind of given the foundation or the tools or the skill set that will kind of prepare you for what you practice as a career in the real world. And then you get into the real world, and then there's just so many things that college does not teach you, TV-wise, how to balance deadlines, how to interact with your coworkers, how to create professional conduct. The biggest realization I found out when I started the news business is that there are people behind the stories that you tell. When you put a story on the news, it's affecting someone and you're telling their story. It wasn't until I was in the news business I realized that as sports reporters, we're in the storytelling business. That's not any different from what a play-by-play guy does or what a news reporter does. As sports reporters, you still tell a story, and there's people behind the stories that you tell. So in that sense, when you kind of get connected to that, it helped me to kind of build a connection with the communities that I was covering in Montana, in San Luis Obispo, and now at USC. So it's a growing experience when you're in Montana and you're dealing with weather with 32 degrees below with wind chill. I like to tell people Montana winters make you tougher. And that helped me get my job in San Luis Obispo because the weekend sports anchor job there had to beat out 100 applications just for that weekend sports job. So yeah, the professional, it makes you grow a lot from when I started here at Fullerton. But again, it all started when I was here at Fullerton.
Working out here on Titan Sports, we've definitely had those moments where the audio didn't work or something like that. Have you had anything like that happen to you out there?
Oh boy, you wouldn't know, man. You would. It's, again, when Titan Sports prepares you for the real world, that includes all the technical glitches you'll experience here. Things like Final Cut, Adobe, or whatever editing system you're using, crashing out in the middle of whatever you're editing. That happens to us in the real world too.
Yeah.
Audio, if you can solve the problems of your audio going out while you're in college, you're that much more prepared for it when it happens to you in the real world. There were times where, of course, the audio would just cut out in the middle of a live shot.
Oh gosh.
But thankfully, in some situations like that, our shotgun mic on the camera was on.
Yeah.
So those were times where I would just speak louder to make sure the audio was caught and people at home who were watching would still be able to hear me as they're still watching us on live TV. So yeah, some things from college just don't change, but that's why it prepares you for when you get your first news job.
Could you share with us the brief story about how Titan Sports Recap started?
Yeah,
what are the origins?
Yeah, I'm glad that you guys have continued the brainchild that I thought of. Honestly, I think I woke up one day and I was just like, I want to start a sports show at Cal State Fullerton. It doesn't have one, but I think I just want to start a sports show. I had internships with KCAL and CBS and ABC and Fox Sports that gave me the foundation of how to cut highlights, and I felt I'd done it enough to be able to teach it to build a roster of people who would go out and cover sports shows. So one day I woke up and I just said, yeah, I want to start a sports show at Cal State Fullerton. I'm going to build a roster and we're going to get it going. And I had Beth George's blessing with being able to do it. So I sent a mass email out through SBJ and through our journalism department and things like that saying, hey, I am going to start a sports show. Who wants in? And the excitement was immediate. I got emails back saying, oh my gosh, it sounds like a great product. I want to get part of it. And that's because, I wanted to do it because I'm probably one of the most passionate Fullerton people you've ever met. And I wanted to create a product that would help Fullerton students compete for sports jobs in the real world. When they go out and want to get a new sports job or anything like that, I wanted to make sure that they had the tools needed to compete with people from other schools that have journalism programs like Missouri, Chapman, Washington State, USC, UCLA. You know, I wanted to make sure that I created a platform for Titans to be able to go out and represent where they came from and, you know, rock that F out in the field.
Awesome. Now, one of the things that was inspirational to me that you told the crew before cameras were rolling was that Titans are everywhere in the broadcasting world now. Could you open up about that?
Yeah, you know, okay, so in Montana, I think at one point we had 6 Fullerton Titans working at my station.
Wow, in Montana?
Yeah, in Montana, yeah. And it started with me because like, I get the job there, and then, you know, more of us just trickle in. And a lot of them were my classmates here originally. Some graduated after me, but, you know, we had the Titan connection. I like to help those who come from this program to be able to get jobs in the news business. One of my co-anchors was my former SPJ vice president here. And then the other, my news director, worked with me at the Daily Titan. And another one worked with our sister station in Montana. But yeah, you know, and that was just in Montana. We're everywhere. We have people at NBC in LA. We have a sports anchor in Fresno. We have Titans in San Diego. We have Titans in Texas. Vicky Vargas, she is the NBC reporter for the Orange County Bureau. She was a Fullerton Titan, you know? So we're everywhere. And when it comes to the TV side of being a Fullerton Titan, the network is deep. And so I'm glad where our past Titans have been, where our present Titans are, and where future Titans are going.
What is it like reporting news in Montana?
California, Montana, a
Like
little different.
specifically news or just like sports in Montana?
As far as just news, period, whether it's sports or anything going on in the area, I mean, it's got to...
Actually, that was a learning experience too, because so in Montana, we don't have professional sports, but the sports they do have, they treat it as if it's professional sports. We have the 2 biggest schools in the state, University of Montana and Montana State. The Titans recently competed in the Lady Grizz Classic, my old beat. Actually, cool side story. So Darren Park, the former Cal State Fullerton women's basketball coach, went up to Montana, took the Fullerton basketball team, took him to Montana to play a couple of games in Montana because he's a Great Falls, Montana native, where I was working. So I was able to connect with him while he was in Missoula, Montana, and I did a full-on story on him. He was able to give me access to the locker room.
Wow.
And I did a story on how this Great Falls, Montana native is now working his way through the coaching systems and is now at my alma mater, Cal State Fullerton. So yeah, we have, as far as sports in Montana goes, they treat them as if they're professional athletes. The high school football and basketball programs, they treat them like they're college kids already playing sports that are loved by their community. The biggest thing I learned though is that there's an audience for everything. I had to cover rodeo. You think a guy like me from Orange County like knows anything about rodeo? But I learned 1, there's an audience for rodeo. 2, I learned rodeo, like the rules, and so I learned how to cover it. And 3, you learn to care about other people's passions. And that makes you a better sports reporter and makes you a better person too.
How interesting. Never really thought about rodeo.
Never looked at it like that
I
either.
wouldn't have thought about
Maybe
it either.
rodeo.
You know, you want to look into rodeo.
Right.
So just, you know, you've been watching the shows recently. You follow us on Instagram.
Yeah.
As far as like when it comes to the backdrop we have now or the new ticker and graphics, what's your
man.
favorite?
Advertise.
What's your favorite new addition to the sports show now?
Oh boy, you know what? I have to say it's that rundown, because one thing I learned being in the business is show beats tell. And when you guys have that rundown displayed, you're showing your viewers what you're going to be talking about in the show. So that, and it gives you guys a more professional look.
Right.
It's honestly, that product is, I mean, just that look is a lot more professional than other student publications that are currently out there. So that rundown, I remember the first time I saw it. I was watching the episode, I saw the rundown, and I was like, oh snap, this is dope, right? And so I was texting alumni from Titan Sports. I was like, yo, Ashley, have you seen what they're doing now? Like, the rundown's awesome. Yo, Megan, yo, Alyssa, have you seen like what they're doing now? It's like amazing. So I want to say the rundown is probably like the coolest thing I've seen you guys implement.
That's my personal favorite too.
Yeah.
When I transferred in last semester, they like when I going through orientation, they told me straight up, this is one of the shows that's behind. So I was so hell bent on getting that graphic in to just look as most sports center as possible. So I'm glad, you guys are noticing.
Yeah, no, it was. I mean, the growth is the number one thing that I've been really proud of, and yeah, I mean, it's you guys and everyone in the back that is just kind of makes that possible. So it takes a team effort to be able to put together a product.
Absolutely,
so,
absolutely.
Like this whole team, I've been very proud of as the roster's kind of rotated throughout the years.
One more thing before we send it over to Ivan. Any final thoughts just for those of us that are graduating? Any words of wisdom?
Yeah. The most powerful tool you will have in your arsenal is your belief in yourself. As long as you have no doubt in your mind that you can go after a goal or that you can accomplish a task, there is nothing that can stop you. The first time, I remember I set a goal that I wanted to win an Emmy. And the first time I got nominated, one, I produced work that I wasn't even a year into my job. Two, I used secondhand equipment that wasn't any different from what you guys use here. I used the little soccer mom camcorders and the flimsy Velbond tripods, but I used that resource to create an Emmy-nominated product when I wasn't a year into my job. I was in market 191, and I beat out people from higher markets to get that nomination.
Wow.
That's
Market
crazy.
70 Spokane, market 12 Seattle, market, I think it's like 60 Portland. And because I told myself, I want to win an Emmy, and I can go do it. And I believed in myself. So, biggest thing I would advise to everyone here, the best weapon you have in your arsenal is the belief in yourself. As long as you have that, then it's all you need to succeed in whatever you guys want to go do.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Derek. We really appreciate you coming back.
Yeah, thank you
What
for having
a
me.
pleasure it's been. Coming up, we have Ivan Duran with the Titan Timeline.
What's up, fellow Titans? Ivan Duran here with the final Titan Timeline of the year. Basketball season is in full swing, and our Titan men's basketball team has a busy winter ahead of them. Wednesday, December 6th, they head up north to take on Portland at 7 p.m. Then they return home a few days later on Saturday, December 9th, to face Utah Valley at 6 p.m. Then they face a tough road trip that will see them take on Cal Berkeley on Saturday, December 16th at 1 p.m. Then Loyola Marymount on Friday, December 22nd at 7. And then finish off the trip with another meeting against Utah Valley on Saturday, December 30th at 5 p.m. Going to the women's side, they also have a busy holiday ahead as they take on Antelope Valley on Saturday, December 16th at 6 p.m. They stay at home to take on UT San Antonio on Tuesday, December 19th at 7 p.m. Then they head to Utah Valley on Saturday, December 23rd at noon. That's all for this week's Titan Timeline. I'm Ivan Duran. Have a wonderful holiday season.
That's it for Season 14 of Titan Sports. Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to check out our previous installments on our Titan Sports YouTube channel.
And don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at CSUF Titan Sports, or like us on Facebook to stay up to date with all things Titan athletics. On behalf of the Titan Sports team, I'm Tyra Majors.
And I'm Nathan McHugh.
And thanks for watching. Remember to keep those tusk up, Titans, and good luck on your finals, and enjoy winter break. We'll see you next semester.